and you're in the corner of the room like a dark entity. Like this. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not fundamentally flawed.
Are we just diagnosing a reaction to emotional discomfort, maybe? So, episode 2.
Woo!
Are we going to do the little clap thing that you... Yeah. Episode 2 of Rebecca eating the microphone.
Well, no, because the point of the clap is so that you can edit it at the clap, but last time it was just me clapping.
I just thought he was excited. So I'm just going to say, I'm actually really pleased with how the first one went.
Yeah.
And people have actually watched it.
That's exciting.
Which I didn't know. I just didn't think they would.
Thanks, Mum.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had 60 views and it's just your mum like that every time.
I haven't even sent it to my mum.
Haven't you?
No.
Could be 61. Yeah, my mum watched it. You know, it's so funny. Yeah, so I knew she was on holiday in Greece. Like, she'd FaceTime me that morning. She was with a twin. I knew she was on holiday in Greece, right?
I love that your mum's a twin.
Yeah. Then the next day, I was looking at like the podcast stats and like downloads and stuff, and it was all downloaded in the UK, and there was one in Greece. I went to Phil and went, "Fucking hell, someone in Greece is watching us!" And I knew my mum was there, but I was like, "Oh my god, We're going worldwide, international." So yeah, that was
Global.
my mom.
Thanks, Mum.
So we're gonna have like again, I think we stuck to an overarching theme last time.
We did.
We're gonna have a bit of an overarching theme today, and I think it's a real important one. Just talking about, are we actually mentally unwell, or are we having a normal response to just the real world?
I think you're definitely mentally unwell.
Just been diagnosed live on the podcast. Cut that. I'm not happy with that. No, but it's right, isn't it? Like, people are, we're just going to go straight in. They're going straight for these diagnoses, left, right, and centre. And I'm not devaluing the fact that it's probably beneficial. But are we just literally responding to life? Like,
I think we're
go.
definitely just responding to life. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because people have that conversation all the time and they say, is it that people are being more diagnosed now and yada, yada, yada? Or is it just that people, I've butchered that, but are they being more, is it just that we have more availability to diagnose people? I mentioned the book last time that I read, didn't I? Called The Dose Effect. Such a good book. I wish I could give you the quote right now. Maybe I'll get my phone. But he talks about like the ADHD era. And he acknowledges like, yeah, of course, like we are being diagnosed more and that is great and people are seeing it more. But we also live in this era and this time where like dopamine is like fried in our brains. So like there is like a real thing when somebody has ADHD where they don't have as much dopamine in their brain.
Is that what it is, ADHD?
Apparently, yeah. I don't know. I've relentlessly tried to Google it to understand like what is the perimeter because
I don't
but yeah, I think it's to do with low dopamine reserves in your brain. So that's why people have a tendency to not do something like the washing because they won't get the dopamine response. But we obviously live in a time. So say like that being a thing anyway, that is going to be like not even 100 times worse now, but like 1,000,000 times worse now based on the state of the world, I guess.
I mean, look, I'm just going to put it out there. Like, I've been diagnosed as ADHD by my friends and family for my whole entire life. And I'm like, am I? And it's not until I've had a daughter and I see the way she behaves. Like, she can't sit and tell me a story like this. She's like, bouncing around. And I'm like, please stay still, because not only am I now trying to, all the things that are going on in my brain, I've got a constant song in the back of my head at any given time. Any moment of life, there's always a song and it's just back there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll keep looping and looping and looping. So I have to explain to her, I'm like, look, I've also got my own thoughts. I've then got a song. I've then got to try and listen to what you're actually saying while locating you in time and space. Like, it's just like, slow down. But Phil always says to me, like, she's a carbon copy of you. And I'm like, wow, if that's me, I'm riddled. And yeah, like, and I think, okay, so what would be the benefit here, right? People saying it to me, it doesn't bother me either way. I understand that there's a need for people to want to have that diagnosis for X, Y, and Z. So to better understand themselves, to better support themselves, like especially in children.
Yeah.
To better support children because they're not, they don't learn the same as neurodivergent children.
You meant the other way. Neurotypical.
Yeah, neurotypical children. So in a sense, I do feel that there's a space for diagnosing. But also, are we just like, when people have high emotions to think, isn't that just a normal human response?
Do you know something I often wonder? And, you know, maybe we could get someone an expert in this, but I'm like, who is the neurotypical person? Because I don't know anyone where I think, like everybody, I'm the same. People always diagnose me with ADHD, everyone. People, particularly when I was going through a very traumatic time in my life. So people would come into I'd be forgetting stuff. I wouldn't be showing up for things. I'd be late. My house was always like a little bit of a mess. Everything was all over the place. And I made a joke of it, and I've always had a bit of an identity of like being a bit more scatty. But like now I'm not in that. That's not there anymore. Like people aren't saying that as much. I think I've not fixed. I've worked on a lot of what people would perceive to be an ADHD symptom. But I chose to, I suppose. But I often wonder who is the neurotypical person? Who are we measuring ourselves against?
That is such a good point.
Yeah, who is the neurotypical person?
Who are they basing that on?
Who are they basing it on?
Literally. Like what are you supposed to be like? And honestly, right, whether I've got ADHD or not, or whether I'm just, I don't know, like maybe we're normal and they're just trying to label things for what unbeknown reason. Are we going to go down the rabbit hole of maybe they're trying to diagnose everyone so they can medicate everyone? Like, is that the real scary truth behind it? Or is there some other, because realistically, when there's always a big push towards something, right, in the media, going on the news, when there's always a big push in the zeitgeist, I always have to take a step back and go,
same.
Why is there a push for that? Like, surely that's not for the greater good. Surely that's not for humanity to evolve and to get any better, because they don't want that.
No.
Who's they?
I kid you not, every single woman in my life, bar none, tells me they've got ADHD.
Really?
And it circles back, I think. Yeah, in that sort of jokey way, the same way that we say it, and maybe like...
And I'm not discrediting people, like, you've got to be careful when I've got ADHD and people who've actually been diagnosed. Like, we're not making light of a situation that can probably be quite difficult to live with.
I think it's the same. There's a book called The Scattered Mind by Gaber Mate. I haven't read it. I have not read the book, but I want to read the book. But he talks about obviously like early childhood experiences and basically ADHD being a consequence of like something along the lines of your parents not being able to manage time properly. So then your like perception of time is like skewed. Again, I'm going to butcher that because I haven't actually read the book, but it also comes down to that, isn't it? Like I've got a friend who's like very ADHD, like you're very standard, like when you were in school and you're like, that kid's got ADHD. And she would say this herself, but she's also had a hell of a lot of trauma in her life, like a lot.
That's mad,
you know? So it's like, again, coming back to that question, is that just a normal response to what she has been through? But the diagnosis helped her a lot, and she's worked with like a counselor or a therapist, I don't know, for ADHD, and she's worked things to manage her symptoms, which is, you know, helping her to be better. But she took, I don't know whether to say what I'm about to say, she was taking medication, did a certain medicina, and that's it. Like, don't, because you're just masking who you are.
Oh, said don't take the meds?
Yeah, because it's masking who you are. Like, it's who you truly are. So it's a tough one, isn't it? But it's like any medication, I don't think it's an outright, like, that thing is wrong. But I personally would go through all the other routes first before I had to default to the point of medicating myself for the rest of my life.
I think we're both very much like that, though. Like,
but then equally, you know, people who medicate and it works for them.
And it works.
So
I've got a friend as well, and I'm not going to say his name, but you wouldn't mind anyway. But he is the absolute definition. And for him, his ADHD is actually can be quite debilitating for him. So he's the kind of person that walks into a room, he's got the most charisma. He's so, like, I don't know anyone who doesn't love him. Like, he's unbelievable, great personality. But his forgetfulness, his inability to complete a task, his inability to organise himself properly, So for him, it was quite debilitating. He went on medication and he said he felt like he was a zombie. He felt like he was deducted from who he really is. So I sent him some, I can't remember what they actually were, but it was like a more like, is it called homeopathic?
Something like that.
Is that how you say it?
Or holistic. It depends, because homeopathic medicine is very specific.
So it's basically like all of the mushroom types. So it'll be, you know, the lion's manes, the this, the that, the other. And it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. So you can still have that like uber active firing brain, but without it being like debilitating and scatty and, you know, leaving yourself short and making yourself like a zombie, because who wants to live like that either?
I think also like the idea that we're supposed to, again, coming back to like the neurotypical thing, it's like, because I'm like that, you're probably the same. It's like I sit on my laptop and then you click in a million different things, and it's something I'm really working on this year in particular of like focus. What?
I forgot the whole point I was telling you that story is because I believe it's a very closed book, but I think he has had an element of trauma as well. That's why I wanted to tell you that. So I'm wondering are we just diagnosing a reaction to emotional discomfort maybe?
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, I didn't
the
mean to cut you
diagnosis,
off.
no, because it's fine to go back to that, because the diagnosis, this is something I have spent a long time trying to articulate, because I talk about this with women getting diagnoses as well, which are helpful, right? When we get a diagnosis, like you've got endometriosis or you've got depression or you've got whatever the diagnosis is that you get, you're like, okay, I have that diagnosis now. But why? Like, why do I have that? And I know there's two different views, isn't there? There's like, is it psychology and psychiatry? Psychiatry medicates, psychology sort of figure out like the root problem. And it's like, I would definitely lean more towards, you know, looking at, we do just have things, and I've gone off on a tangent there into endometriosis, but
no,
if you have
relevant.
endometriosis, you have endometriosis.
Yeah,
I don't mean like you need to search and say like, this is my fault and all of those different things. But the real question is like, why and where is that coming from and what is the root cause of that thing? Not in that individual, and the same with like the ADHD and the same with the thing, but and just the different diagnoses, because it's like then I think we get over-identified. I just really want to move away from the endometriosis stuff, because this is not the same thing.
Yeah.
You get over-identified with the diagnosis about your mental health, and then you get stuck to it.
Yeah.
I even recently, I had a call. This is a little bit personal, but I'll talk about it anyway. I had a call because I was going through some stuff, and as you know, like the past few years, I went through like quite a lot of stuff, and I'm very okay now. But I was still having some particular symptoms like nightmares, reoccurring thoughts, stuff like that. And I spoke to someone, and she basically said to me like, you know, it sounds like PTSD. And I felt myself for like a few days getting attached to that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what it is. And that's what it has been the whole time. And it definitely was post-traumatic stress disorder. But I've also, up until this point, dealt with all of the things along the way. Yeah, because I've had a really good support system. Yeah, because I work with people with the mind and things like that. So I'm able to do that. And, you know, when I kind of spoke to them on the phone as well, this was super frustrating. But they were like, what are you doing? Like, do you have a support system? I was like, yeah. Like, you know, do you do like breathwork yoga? I was like, yeah, I'm a Pilates instructor. Blah, blah. And they didn't really care then. You know, there was like no support or no help for me. It was funny because my mum was like, exaggerate it. And I was like, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to lie. But at the same time, could I do with the support and with the help? But probably if I'd overemphasized that and like took the diagnosis of PTSD, I would be treated very differently. And I think there's another conversation to be had, which is a difficult conversation to have with yourself of like, when you get the diagnosis, are you getting it so that you can sit in that space of, I now have this diagnosis and now I'm going to use this as a reason to not proceed in life? Or am I getting this diagnosis and now I'm going to look for the support to properly help me to understand what I have? Yeah.
There's two types of people.
Yeah.
And identifying as a certain archetype or characteristic or diagnosis, it can be really quite, it can trap you. And I think really what it comes down to is self-awareness. Like, I would say that you and I are quite self-aware. But to get to that point of self-awareness, like this, right, for example, this is going off on a tangent, but it's the only real, like, example I can think of. So when your hormones start to change, like, you know, I've been through a lot of this now. We'll go on this on another podcast, but I am very self-aware to the fact that I do not feel myself, and the lashing out at angry or the things that I've been experiencing, the lows of this or that, I am self-aware enough within my own person to know that this is outside of me. This is not who I am. This is not who I identify with, it's not my partner, it's not my kid, it's not the fucking knobhead who just cut me up. Like, you know, it's my response that's not me. Like, I'm not this person. I am self-aware enough to know, okay, maybe let's go and have my hormones investigated. Let's do this, do that. But there are people out there who start to change and then start to become angry with the fella breathing differently, and they're like, oh, I fucking hate him. And then they look to, and I'm probably really butchering this as well, but they look to blame the external because they are not self-aware enough within themselves to know something's amiss within me that I need to discover, instead of blaming just everybody else. Like, everyone's pissing me off, everyone's now annoying, everyone's this. So self-awareness is probably realistically the first step. But how do you become self-aware when you're not? Like, what is that?
Do you know what I think? I mean, is everybody too self-aware is another conversation that you could be having.
Is it
because
an obsession?
It's like, is it an obsession with being self-aware? The external blame is so interesting, because the conversation around like self-responsibility, I work with this coach and she's brilliant, right? But she talks a lot about responsibility, and she was talking about something the other day about like in her success, and she basically said like the next step to my success always was like taking more responsibility. And she talks about how people like fight with that, right? So like, I don't know, let's say it can be dangerous, the conversation over self-responsibility, right?
Why?
Because if you're in a very bad relationship, for example, right, where does self-responsibility start to become self-blame? So sometimes we have to be able to look at the external, because I have definitely been in a situation where I've relentlessly taken responsibility, but endlessly blamed myself for a dynamic that was playing out. So you have to also be careful to not let self-responsibility become self-blame, but recognize that the self-responsibility would be like, why am I putting up with this? Not, I am to blame for this. Why are you laughing?
Because I thought when you was like, I have personally been, and I was thinking, yeah, I've been with a piece of shit as well. And he was like, no, I've also been the person who blames myself. And I was just thinking, no, it was him. Like, he was a piece of shit. But I wasn't responsible.
My responsibility and your responsibility in that situation is looking at like, why am I accepting this? Like, what is the thing? Why am I not leaving?
Yeah,
but what we do is fall into, again, this is, I'm not going to be very careful with my words, but we fall into the self-blame and like, it's me and I'm not worthy and I'm not lovable, and spiral into that place. And then search for that thing of like, what's wrong with me? And like I say, when I was in that place, everybody was diagnosing me with ADHD, because everyone was like, what the fuck is wrong with her? Like, what's up with this girl?
Diagnosed you with Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. But the responsibility piece for me was like looking after myself. And, you know, I don't think I've made much sense there, but.
No, yeah, you did. I mean, look, there's a conversation around that about like, the obsession with healing and the obsession of always looking to find another wound to heal. Like, when does the point come where you just accept that, okay, I'm good, I'm healed, I don't need to keep digging shit up? Like, it's like you heal from something and then you actively go looking for, oh, well, 10 years before that, something else happened. Why are you laughing?
I'm just laughing at that process. And like, yeah, I'm just laughing at that process.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah. No, but it's true.
That process of like searching for like,
what else can I fix? What else can I fix?
Do you know what I think it is? And I sometimes think there's a few stages to healing. So I think you're going around life and you're like, there's something up with you, right? And I think everybody goes through this. There's something up with everyone, right? Someone's depressed or someone's whatever. And then you reach a point and you start digging into it. And I think phase one of that is looking at, why am I like this? And you might have like some huge breakthroughs around like something that went on in childhood, whether that was a traumatic childhood or not. Your childhood impacts you at the end of the day. Yeah. And you go like, oh yeah, that's why I am like that. And then the next question from there is like, how do I move forward now? But we stay in that's why I am like that. So then you carry this story of like, you know, oh, I was so, you know, my mum didn't love me probably when I was younger, and that's why I'm like this. And you attach to that story rather than, okay, as a child, I had the experience that I felt that I wasn't that loved. How do I now move forward from this as a grown adult? But we stay stuck in the story.
Yeah.
And everyone's got a story. But it is important to find the why, I think, in the first place. But then it's about asking the how do I move forward.
But then it hinders you. So if you know there's something that you need to heal or you need to fix or whatever it might be, like, we're obviously not single, but if you speak to one... What do you mean, obviously?
That's what you said. We're obviously not single. I I know what you meant. You were saying because
Yeah, no, girl. No, anyway, I'm sorry, that was off. No, so we're not single, but you only have to speak to your single friends, right? And they will tell you that the pool is fucked. I said to one of my friends the other day, and I was like, oh, I imagine that the pool of available guys is quite shallow. And she was like, it's a drop.
Would I argue that though, that could be a story that people are also telling themselves?
Well, potentially.
Because I was single and then I'm not, and I've got a really, really great partner.
Yeah, and I said this to her, and I said, as I'm an adult now, and as I am coming into my own as, mid-30s, I feel much more in my power. I feel much more aware of who I am, confident with who I am. I don't have any uncertainties about myself. My circle of people and friends and the groups of people I associate with, there's a lot of decent men in my group, like, my friends, fellas, things like that. Like, there's a lot of decent men. So the point I'm trying to make is that when you're looking around to try and date someone, everyone's trying to heal before they'll allow themselves to date, or they're trying to heal before they'll allow themselves to do X, Y, Z. So they're actually hindering themselves because they're staying in this little bubble where they're trying to fix, heal. They're not allowing themselves to be open to new experiences. They're not allowing themselves to be open to new people. Sometimes you actually need someone to come in. Like, I really hate talking about Phil all the time, and I'm actually going to make him be an official sponsor because, like, this is annoying now. But
sometimes you need someone like Phil in your life.
Yeah, but as an example, when I met him, I'd just come out of like an 8-year on and off, not a great relationship. I was not in a good place.
To say the least.
What? To say the least, yeah. So I met him, some might say a good time, a bad time, but he made me want to be a better woman, right? Yeah. And at the start, it was very to and fro, and we had a couple of breakups at the very beginning. We was figuring each other out, whatever. But I left myself open to meet somebody, and it turned out that he didn't change me. He didn't try to change me, but the way that he was so solid and so sure and so calm and not aggressive, and he didn't shout at me. The way he communicated with me, it just let my guard come down, and it's made me want to be a better person because he is a better person, in my opinion. So sometimes keeping yourself closed off in your little healing era, fine, but sometimes the support of another good person gets you on the path.
But then you may have been... I often wonder, like, what makes some people, like... because you may have been so hurt, right, that you don't, like, that is really, really hard. That, like, closed offness is so hard to, like, break through. And I guess you can't interfere with anybody's timeline, can you?
No.
Whilst these conversations are all well and good, some people need to go through 7 really bad relationships till they are open to that person for whatever reason, whatever it may be. But yeah, that is such an what are you laughing about?
I keep having little thoughts in my head. He actually said to me the other day, he was like, I'm actually not that great. Yeah, he went, I'm actually not that great. The bar was just so fucking low.
No. Do you know what? My partner
and I'm like, actually, are you shit? And like,
honest to God, so my partner now, same as he's never, ever, ever lost his temper with me.
Oh, it's great.
Ever, never.
That's masculine for me.
Oh,
that's so
unbelievable.
Alpha masculine, where they don't, like the big brother, like,
just
throwing things, smashing things to be the man.
The fear of, like,
so weak.
Yeah.
What a man to just be in your peace, never raise your voice, just be so calm.
Yeah. But that, like, thing, but I have often thought, Stuart will kill me for saying that. I think, like, I'm like, is this just normal? And me and my other friend laugh about it all the time because she was like, I won't, she might listen to this, but we're like, what is normal? Like, what is? And I do think that, Phil very much loves you and Stuart is very much the same. And, maybe they are unicorns. Like, people always say to me, like, oh, I want to find, like, my Stuart. You know what I mean? And, but there were so many things that he would do in the beginning. I've got, like, a group chat with my sister-in-laws and my sister. And I would message and be like, is this just normal? Like, is this just the way people treat people? Or, like, should I be this in love? Like, is this because the things that he does? But in the beginning, going on total different conversation here, aren't we? But there were so many things that Stuart did that were normal, that, like, healed me. Like, pausing the TV when I left the room, or, like, asking me what film I would like to watch, or, like, cooking me some food, or
I was underground.
Asking me if I want a coffee. And I was like, this guy... Green
That's actually
flag.
really tragic.
It's a bit sad.
Maybe we should get a therapist on and just have a live session.
Yeah, maybe. But I guess what you're ultimately saying, because there's so much therapy, in that person. And I don't know, are we lucky that we met those people, or were we open? Did we keep our heart open to be able to invite somebody else in and just say, all right,
Because you know what?
Let's go, God.
Being hurt and being damaged and being broken can also become, and I want to be careful, it can also become an identity. And you can quite often see the bad in everybody because of how you have been previously treated. And that is very difficult to break away from. Like, very difficult to break away from. Like, how do you give somebody that you've just met, that you don't really know, you don't know their intentions, you don't know their integrity, like, how do you give them a chance? And you're rolling the dice. It may work. You may end up in a darker hole. Like,
yeah, I think you do. I think you have to trust yourself. I don't know if you agree. So much of my journey has come from my own self-trust as well. Do you know what I mean?
knowing
like,
that not to
knowing that
accept
I
that.
sort of will know now how to look after myself or what to say no to. But then I don't know, because we're talking about abuse essentially, aren't we? And it's a different thing altogether, and it's so hard to recover from, and it's so. I think you have to just know that it's not you. There isn't. I think if there was one message that I could give to women always is there's nothing wrong with you. You are not fundamentally flawed. You may have a diagnosis, you may have been hurt, you may have had your heart broken, but we are all equally like as valuable. And I think if you can start to see that within yourself, then you start to accept being treated in that way. I've gone off again, haven't I?
No, it's fine.
But like,
it's about boundaries, isn't it? And accountability.
Yeah, but then it can be hard to have boundaries when you've had your boundaries. So, I have conversations with Stuart all the time, and I'm like, listen, this is my first time like navigating things in a healthy way. Like,
give me a minute.
Give me a minute. Like, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know if this is a big deal. I don't know if I need to leave or shout at you or break up with you or like, what the hell is going on?
Probably not.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And it's learning new territory, but gone off completely.
No, cutting people off, I think, can be a form of protection, but at what point does then that become avoidance? Like, you can, quite literally cutting the wrong people out to make way for the right people, or cutting the people out of your life that don't deserve to be there, that offer no value, that it's like an energy vampire. Like, they exist. I will not be told otherwise. Like, people can be in your life and be in your vicinity. We really look like proper book nerds, because I'm just going to say, I read a book once. But there's a book, and it was probably...
We read all the time.
Yeah, I do. I do read all the time. I read this book. This was years and years ago, and a shaman actually recommended me to read this book.
Really?
Yeah, and it was really transformative, and it was called Listn Prophecy.
Oh, yeah.
Have you read that?
I have read it.
It's like the OG, isn't it, on like your spiritual journey?
Yeah. And it came into my life in a way that people say it will. Someone gave it to me. And then I left it. I left it somewhere accidentally, and then I got given another one.
Yeah.
Way.
It does. It comes. So the Listn Prophecy, and then there was the 10th Insight after that. And I've not read this for the best part of 8 years. So please jump in if you think I'm absolutely slaughtering this. But
no, I'm the same. I can't remember it much.
There's a section in there that talks about the power struggle. So you've got your auric and energy field, and someone else has got theirs. And when you're having an interaction with someone, it's either like a dance and a shared flow of energy, or it's that person pushing their energy, yours is going smaller, or vice versa. So there comes a point when you have to identify the people in your life that are taking all of your energy. It's like an energy battle, and they are draining your energy. Or if there's a way that you can either find that dance or what, like, did I get that right?
I can't remember that by the book. Do you know the reason I'm smiling is because I speak about that a lot, and I try to articulate that thing to people a lot of like power dynamics. Remember that course I did, The Bitch in Me? This was kind of like what that was about, and I spot it now all the time, again referring back to because of certain situations I've been in. I'm like, why? People will say the most subtle thing, and I'm like, what was that? Why have you just like undermined me in that conversation? And like, I always say, it's like, it's this power struggle constantly with people. And I'm like, why are we doing this dance? Like exactly what you've just said, like, and you spot it straight away. I think the cutting people off conversation is, It's a tough one because, again, that same energy, like some people just like cut people off and everybody else is to blame and blah, 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 blah. I mean. And, you know, sometimes I think you need to offer people a little bit more grace.
Yes.
You know, particularly if you've got a friend. Again, I've had this experience personally where they've been a good friend and then maybe if they go a little haywire, you know what, maybe it's not about you. Maybe they're going through something. And instead 100%. Of making it about you, but then there's that other reverse issue of like, you try to not make it about you and it is about you and you're picking up a real thing. But I think the first question always has to be when you feel somebody who's more regular in your life. I'm not talking about a stranger who's not relevant and is pulling on your energy. But let's say you started to go like a little bit weird with me. My first question will probably be like, hey, are you okay?
That should be, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that in my own life. Yeah. Like, because of the last 12 months, it's been a lot for me. And I know that I haven't been present for my friends. Because I've always identified as a really positive person and people tell me I'm positive and I've always had this big bubbly persona. But when life is essentially, I was going to say something really rude then, not being nice to you. When, you know, life not be life in, I withdraw and I shrink myself and I go inwards. And it's difficult to talk to people about like the downfalls because you don't want to be that friend that every time you meet up, it's like, oh, and this happened, that's happened, because it's not easy to talk about negative things. It's not easy to tell someone that actually shit's not going right. So I identify and I know within myself that I do pull back. And I've got friends who have maybe thought that it's personal to them and that I'm just not being a great friend. And I know I'm not being a great friend, but it's not because I don't love you anymore. It's because I'm trying to love myself through this really hard time. Yeah. But then on the flip side of it, I've got friends that I haven't spoken to for months and they'll be like, are you all right? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not a problem. So it's just identifying that and trying to articulate it, you know, without trying to... Sometimes you feel like when you try and say that to the friend who feels like it's them, you're almost making excuses. You're not. Yeah. You're just going through a really shit time.
Yeah. I think there's an interesting part there just for you that you said that you identify with being a positive person and you find it difficult to tell people when you're going through a negative time. That's an interesting thing for you to explore.
Really? What do you mean?
Like, does it not fit with your identity? Is there like a level of shame when you feel like you're going through something and it's not super positive?
Yeah, I do. Because I feel like...
And how do you feel about that?
Can we get some tissues in here, please, Dave? I feel like it's going to get a little bit wet.
It's going to get a little bit deep.
No, I do identify as that. And I would say I like to be the pillar of positivity for people around me. And I like to inspire the people around me. And I feel like that is a role that I step into. And I love being that person. When someone phones me with a bad time, I'm the one that's like doing the proper motivational talks. And I will drag you out by your hair of that dark hole. I will. But when it's me in there, am I willing to tell you that and let you help me out? No fucking way. No fucking way. Because I'm the person. Why would I let you now help me? Or why would I make myself vulnerable? I'm scared of looking like, God, this is really deep, isn't it? I'm scared of looking like I'm being negative because I always try and get people to see the positive. Like, look, like you, it's only a season, it'll change if you manifest, blah, blah, blah. But what if I can't do that right now?
Yeah, and also it's like you can see the positive and the light of the end of the tunnel and still be in the shit. You know, if you were to speak, it's going to be so random, but I'm just laughing because it's trending on Instagram at the minute when people are talking about how scared we were of quicksand when we were kids. As an example, metaphorically, say you're stood in quicksand. There's no point me being like, stay positive. But it's like, yeah, all right, there's an issue here and we need to deal with this issue, but it's okay. You are going to be out of it soon. You know, so I think there's also that part. And again, this is something I've struggled to articulate for such a long time because there is a difference between being optimistic and being positive to the point where you're ignoring what your heart is saying.
Toxic positivity.
You're pushing that down and your heart is kind of screaming. And I think that's when people do start searching for like a diagnosis or a different thing because we're like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And really it's like your heart or your gut or your throat is just like screaming like, please like address this thing. Like, please just acknowledge this thing like without, you know, I don't know, having to feel like that means that there's something wrong with me, with us.
It's a very vulnerable territory to be in.
It is. But I think it's nice when people are vulnerable. I think I'm probably a little bit the same. Yeah.
Like with me and you, we have chats a lot and we do like, I have always, and I am going to blow smoke up your ass, like I've always valued your opinion. I always feel that when we talk, you always give me really good insight. And even if it's not necessarily the thing that I want to hear at the time, you'll challenge me to think about things. Like I love that. But do I have that, not relationship with everyone. I'm not trying to say that. What I'm trying to say is that I find it probably easier, and I've not even been friends with you that long. I've got friends who I've been friends with for like 15 years, but I would say I find it sometimes easier to offload on someone that maybe doesn't know me for that long, because you haven't got this whole brand identity about who I am. So I feel like I can be a little bit who I am today rather than who I was this many years ago, because it doesn't seem like such a polarizing shift. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, yeah. But I think there's also just different people. I have people like you and my other friend that I just mentioned before who like I am definitely more open with as well. But I think there's certain layers and levels to conversations that you wouldn't go with some friends. Not for any reason, because I can't get my words out. I'm going to stop because I can't get my words out. I need to little think for a moment. Like if I say something to you, people are very judgmental, right? I can have a conversation with you and I'm not going to think about it after, or like, oh, even if you rang me and said like, oh, I don't know, I'm thinking of breaking up with Phil. I wouldn't
Imagine. Don't just clip that, by the way.
But I'd just hold that space in that moment, because sometimes you might be thinking that thought, but like that's not the reality of what's happening. But people so often, not many people can hold your vulnerability. I think that's a very real thing. And I think when we started having that conversation of like, it's okay not to be okay and just talk to people. And it's like, not everybody can hold you talking to them.
Not everyone has that person that you don't feel scared to be that vulnerable with.
Yeah, and sometimes you say stuff to people and like the response that you get, like, for example, when you've been through a really like traumatic thing and people have been really horrible to you. People are good, right? And people see the good in everyone. So when you're trying to articulate, I went through this really bad thing with someone, people, like their brain, there's a real thing around this. It's like they can't compute what you're saying. So they're like filtering it through this thing of like, this can't be the reality of the world. Like it can't be this dark.
Oh, no, I don't understand what you mean actually.
You know when you hear about really bad things in the world?
Like
really
awful.
bad things, and you don't fully process them because you're like.
I just think we're desensitized though. I don't think it's that we don't process it.
Yeah,
I think we're so desensitized to shit now.
Yeah.
That like it's awful.
Yeah,
the human side of us has been so desensitized.
Do you think we're desensitized, or do you think we're just like, I cannot hold that in my mind?
Desensitized. I do. I really do. I had a thought before we went off on that. Oh yeah, that was it.
My brain has gone like the most quiet ever. It's like
meditation.
It's like gone like blank.
Should we just do a meditation?
Honest to God, I feel like I should like hold this moment. I'm like, wow, it's so quiet. Wow. Maybe I have got ADHD.
What do you feel about, and this is an open conversation.
Yeah.
What do you feel about, so you have these people on social media, right? And I say, have I done this? I don't know. I've not like got hundreds of thousands of followers, but you've got these people who are very open, very honest. They want to talk about absolutely everything, the most intricate details, everything that they've gone through, whether it be loss, abuse, addiction, some of the real darkest parts of our shadows, like that we have just gone through and we're like, whoa. And they want to share that with 100,000 followers on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Do you feel that could be, in a sense, healing? Or do you feel that we've gone too far with wanting to overexpose, wanting to have that shock factor? Like, when people, for example...
I think it depends the energy where it's coming from.
I've seen videos, right? And I swear to God, I've seen a video exactly like this. And I have to think about this when I see it. So someone's grandma had just died. It's really bad. They'd put the phone. So you've just found out your grandma died. Picture this. My grandma's just died. Oh my God, I'm sobbing my heart out. This is really sad. At some point, this individual is gone. They've set a camera up oh, just get the angle right, put it there. And then they've come away and then proceeded to cry and break down and say my grandma's died. And then they posted that video like, literally, I've seen this video. This was moments after I just found out my grandma died. And then they proceeded to film themselves breaking the heart that the grandma died. Like, thoughts, because...
I have mixed views about it.
Do you have mixed?
I think it depends the space where it's coming from. I think so many people talk all the time about no one shares the bad things on social media.
No,
but then
I
if
talk about
someone
that.
does, everyone's like, why are you sharing that on social media? Would my first instinct in that situation? No, but also that is very much some people's livelihood and jobs. There's a girl that I follow, and I really, really, really like her. And she posted a video after she found out her dad had committed suicide. And she clearly stated that she was filming content already.
Yeah.
And like she broke down. And in the video, her husband came in and she said, one day, you know, your husband's going to have to be the person who supports you when you lose your thing. And I follow her, so I know her whole story. And she is very much not in victim energy.
Right.
And she obviously just made the decision to post it. And this guy then took the video, posted the video, and then afterwards was like, oh yeah, because that's what thing. And I thought, well, first of all, you've used her video.
Yeah.
I just think there's different layers to it. I think some people do it from the victim space, like anything. And I think sometimes it's also necessary to share. Again, like with some of the things that we've spoken about, like there's things that I've been through that I think like, should I share this stuff? Why am I staying
It
silent?
just goes back,
but if
doesn't
I did share it, I would get more shit than applause.
Yeah.
Way more shit than applause. And everyone like, seeing what she's saying. Oh, she seemed happy before. I know she's talking shit and da-da-da-da-da-da. And you get the odd person who'd be like, oh. So it's a tough one because people say that they want it. You know, like I've got videos because sometimes people say, oh, why would you set up your camera? And some of my clips on my videos are like images like where I'm crying, but it's where I was vlogging.
And
so I'm vlogging and in like the thing, and I've used it for capturing the process of like the transformation. You know, I don't know. It's a tough one. I think it's tough.
Maybe it comes from my vulnerability of being unable to be that person.
Yeah.
And maybe, so you know what you always say? What's that saying?
It depends where it comes from. Some people do it for...
What's that saying where it's like, what you don't like in another woman is what you are, what you don't like about yourself or something. Is that the saying?
It's like, I always say to people, if you have like a visceral response to something in
Yeah.
someone, you can not like something about someone, obviously. And you can be like, what the hell? But when you have like a huge emotional response to what someone is doing, it's like it is within your shadow.
Maybe that's me. Maybe that's why, because I find it so difficult to be honest when things are bad, that when someone's actually just being honest when things are bad, I'm like, ew.
Yeah, maybe. But again, I think there's just different energies around it. And I think as a person and as a creator, when you're on social media, you have to evaluate that with yourself. There was some stuff about things I shared, that things I did go through. And then people started saying to me, like, I hope you're okay. And I was like, I am okay. I wouldn't speak about it if I wasn't
Inbox me,
okay. Like, I wouldn't speak about it while I was in the depths of it. We're talking 5 years ago now but then I never spoke about it again because I didn't like I felt like it when people were giving me sympathy. I was like, ew, I hope people don't think I'm looking for sympathy, because I wasn't. I was sharing my story to say, this is what I went through. And it gets better, and it doesn't have to be in the trenches in this way. And sometimes that is necessary. But yeah, I think there's a space where, would I set up a camera after I found out somebody died? Probably not, no. Probably not. You know, I don't know. But at the same time, is it important to speak about grief and see people talking about going through those things? Yeah, because sometimes that's sometimes the beauty of social media, because you can be scrolling and you find that video of someone talking about grief while you're going through grief, and you're like, that's exactly what I'm going through, and this is helping me. So
yeah, there's a value in the honesty. And, you know, ultimately people feel more comfortable opening up to someone that they know can kind of relate, like opening up to someone who you know has had not even a similar experience, but, you know, it can actually make that whole process easier.
Yeah.
You know, about mental well-being and about like, circling back to this whole episode and what we want to talk about, like therapy doesn't necessarily, are we over therapizing? Like, therapy doesn't necessarily have to be going into a room, paying someone, sitting on the little weird fucking couch and like, I don't know, I've only seen it on movies.
To lie on one of them couches and talk. It's like, you know, when you get your lashes done and you tell your girl like everything about your life and she's like, and everything you've ever thought comes out and you're like, no way. It's because you're lying down with your eyes closed.
My friend Georgie had me and I don't get my lashes done anymore. Fucking shout out Georgie. She's like an amazing lash check. But
I actually never get my lashes done. It's my brows.
I don't. Oh yeah. No, she will quite often say, will you shut the fuck up? Because like my face, maybe because she's my friend, my face is so expressive. So I can imagine you trying to do my eyelashes and I'm like, like my face is having a little mini seizure and she's trying to intricately put one lash on and I'm like, and then what he said was this and she's like, shut the fuck up. Like put my head in a vice just to try and like.
I tell everything to my nail girl. Again, shout out to the nail girl.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like, why have you, she goes like, how have you been? I'm like,
oh girl.
And I'm the same as you. Like I don't really tell people stuff. Anyone.
What a stranger.
All my friends go mad at me because if they message saying, how are you, I blanket. Because I hate the question. And everyone, like I've had friends fall out with me because they're like, you never answer that. Chloe asks me. I'm like, well, how long has it been since I last saw you? 3 weeks. Okay, so the Monday after I was walking out there, you know, proper deep. Yeah, which is a funny one. You were saying something about lying on the couch.
Yeah, I don't remember. Lost my train of thought. But I mean, I have only seen them in movies. But yeah, therapizing, sorry. So I think women are very different to men in that sense. Like men will tell you this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We will talk. We will have our gossips, you know, whether it be to your friend that you've had for 15 years or your friend that you've just met in the nail salon and you're like, girl, like, I'm going to tell you some shit. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, oversharing. Whoa. So, but we, at some point, are much better at that than men. Mm-hmm. And it's very sad, very, very sad that men internalize it a lot. And I feel so, I used to teach a men's only yoga class and the whole premise of doing that, it started in June last year because it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, something like that.
I thought that was November.
No, it's June. And it's so needed. And the men that would come to that class, like it's still going on now, the men that would come to that class would be like, I wouldn't go to a typical yoga class knowing that it's going to be full of women. I'm going to feel dead stupid. I'm going to be sweating at the back. Can't do this, can't do that. That space was needed. And there was a guy who used to come to my class and at the end, like, you know, everyone would be lying down in meditation. I'd put like a nice song on. I'd come and do like an oil massage on the little temples and stuff like that. And they're like, he said, I come for that bit. Like, that's the bit where I can go, and men don't have a space for that. They don't. And realistically, that it needs to change.
It's so sad. We could do a whole podcast on it, right? Yeah. I feel quite passionately.
We talk a lot about women, but what about the men? Like, they carry a lot.
So much. And I think they're not the same. I was watching this video the other day. It was this guy, he was like a men's coach, and it was like a video, 2 women talking about, you know, men and the way that they process and blah, blah, blah. And he works with men, and he said, you know, you would not be surprised the amount of men that come to the group, and you know, like that wheel chart.
What wheel chart?
Of your emotions. And it's like, if you could put it up here. But like, how do you feel? And it's like, they don't know. You know, like we can pretty much always, if you said to me, like, what are you feeling? Like, even just now while we were talking,
hungry, tired,
I think because I've been quite vulnerable, I was thinking, I feel like I'm disassociating a little bit. I've got the language in for that. But it said you would not be surprised. Like they don't know. There's no like.
How do you feel? Hungry, horny, tired, done,
fed up.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and it's such a conversation, right? It's a heartbreaking conversation. I feel really, really, really heartbreaking. You know, you look at the rates of like suicide.
Yeah, I know.
It's so sad. It's unbelievably sad.
You know what? Being that person of peace for your man, I think is an honourable. Don't laugh. Why are you fucking laughing? I'm trying to say something dead serious and nice, and you're just laughing at me.
I know.
What? Go on.
Is she a peaceful?
Yeah. No, to be fair, he does say he's got like a really deep line there, and he's like, I never had this before I met you. But he says it's because I say stupid shit, and he has to like be like, is she? I'm going to be very open and no, I'm not going to say it actually. No, I'm not. Fuck it. No, I'm not.
Say it afterwards.
No, I'm not ready.
Are we okay for time? What are we on?
Yeah, we'll wrap this up now. But being someone's peace rather than someone's chaos is such an honourable position. Like, and that means...
I think it's a dangerous space, telling women to be peace.
All right, fine. Let's wrap it up here.
I do think it's a dangerous space because I've had someone...
Peace, but, being peaceful within yourself, that it's that energy dance, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the energy dance. Like, be fluid enough with each other that you can be each other's sort of...
In this thing that I was listening to. No, it's relevant to what you're saying. I know what you're trying to say. I just know how I've took that word and been like, I need to be in the peace. I need to be the peace. When like you're not creating an environment where I can be.
Yeah, no. They've got to play their part too.
But on this video that I was watching, he was talking about men going out. He was like, this is how they think of it. They go out and, they used to go to war, but they're going out and they're looking home and they come home and you're in the corner of the room like a dark entity. Like this, waiting to bounce on them. And I was just like, oh, it's that thing. Have you ever seen that thing where it says like how to be like a 1950s housewife? And it's like, when they get home, make sure the children are washed. And thinking. But I think there's a layer to that. Not that, but of not losing the shit when somebody comes through the door. And I think that's probably more of what you mean of like being...
How to articulate the problems,
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we've chatted long enough about this, but we are going to do...
I disassociated about half an hour ago.
Rebecca checked out ages ago. Sound. Well, episode 2, over and done with. Do we say the cheesy thing, right? I always see people say this, and I don't know if I hate it or if it's actually needed, but this will be on YouTube. If you like this, so what is it? Like and subscribe. Obviously, just cheesy. I know. But I do. No. We need the support. Yeah, so like it's a small podcast. If you like it, click the buttons, whatever they are. I'm sure Dave can put something fancy to show that I know what I'm talking about.
Subscribe. Shall I ask you a question to finish?
Oh, go on. Have you got one?
I'm going to come up with one really, really quick.
I'm not going to come up with one with you because I don't like the pressure.
What do you think the England score will be on Saturday?
Oh, who fucking cares? Who's asked? Right, see you later, everyone.
Put a prediction. Ciao.
Right, done.